Hello, good evening, beautiful people. You are welcome once again to FEM Institute Masterclass. This is one of the best institutions that you will learn about finance, entrepreneurship, leadership, and management. FEM Institute came up as a business school, and so far so good. We have been able to train thousands of leaders, thousands of entrepreneurs in different angles. And today we have a wonderful guest all the way from United States of America to join us. And he is no other person than Mr. Kevin Jerome. Applaud everyone. Okay, before we start, I want to make a little introduction about who Mr. Kevin is, so he can take us on immediately because we don't really have much time. I will be reading a little bio about Mr. Kevin, and then he will take up the stage. Mr. Kevin Jerome Brown is a social media influencer and a life coach who inspires, mentor, and assists others on multiple platforms. He is also the founder of Change Begins in Me, which is a movement focused on teaching people self-awareness, personal development, and leadership in everyday life for their own success. Kelvin lives and teaches through his motto and mantra, aligning humanity with identity and purpose, believing that knowing who you are and what you aim to achieve is the only way that we as being human beings will connect and maximize and ultimately be satisfied in society. Mr. Kevin Jerome. Ladies and gentlemen, with a clapping and a standing ovation, let us welcome my friend, my boss, my mentor, Mr. Kelvin Jerome.
Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you, Fidelis, for that wonderful introduction. It's an honor and a privilege to be here in Film Institute with this masterclass. To the Okeke brothers, I want to say thank you very much for allowing me to have the privilege to be here, for Fidelis to extend the invitation to be here. And to everybody who is here to learn from this occasion, I count it a privilege and an honor from all the way in Georgia, United States of America, to speak to all of you. So we're going to go ahead and get right into our topic for today. We are focusing on leadership and management. What so that's exactly what we're going to be getting into in this particular time. Uh, so I have my notes here. I have my head. I want to say the difference is between leadership and management a little bit more. So the focus of leadership is to inspire and guide people. Anybody who is like, let's say for me, is CBIM. These are people who are going to be the face of whatever entity that they are going to be. So they are going to be the ones in charge, the face of that particular goal. So that way that they are able to inspire others with their particular goals, their ideal, their vision by embodying those things. We're going to get more into that. But they're the ones who guide what the vision of something is. They guide what the characteristics of that entity is. Managers, on the other hand, they help to organize, plan, and execute tasks to make sure that this entity is able to not only do what it does, but also self-regulate over time through these tasks that they are allocating and that they are created to execute whatever this focus or vision may be. All right. So that is one difference between leadership and management. Another one is approach. Leaders emphasize relationships, teamwork, and motivation. So the person who is the leader, the person who is, again, the visionary, as well as the person who is usually upfront to exemplify what that entity is, what it is to connect through this particular brand or this particular entity. They're going to be the ones who help to identify what that culture is, what that teamwork is going to be like, and how to inspire and motivate through these particular relationships and teamwork so that way that it is a strong network. Managers, on the other hand, focuses on process, budgeting, and structure. So anything that is pretty essentially the lifeblood of what makes this entity work practically, functionally, that is what managers are when it comes to how they relate to people and how they approach people. All right. The next thing is role. Um, Leadership involves encouraging and influencing people, whereas management focuses, oversees, and controls organizational activities. So anybody who is the leader, they're going to be the ones that are going to be pushing people to go forth in this particular direction of whatever brand or particular entity they're operating in. Management, on the other hand, focuses on the control of everything that makes the machinery of the brand, so to speak, or the operating, taking care of the task for services and things like that. That is what the management is focusing on. All right. Meanwhile, the leader is focusing on making sure that people are being influenced and persuaded through that particular brand. All right. The next thing, visions and goals. And we're going to get into this a little bit deeper in another segment of this particular topic. But let's go ahead and start getting into the meat of this now. So, vision and goals. Leaders focus more on thinking ahead and capitalizing on opportunities. Managers focus more on achieving organizational goals through established processes. So, essentially, the leader is the one who carries the vision. They carry the long-term goal of what this and the overall purpose of what this brand, this entity is going to represent. So whether you are actually in a nonprofit organization or you're in a business, you're in charge of a career, you're in charge of um, being the example or the visionary of this particular enterprise or whatever the case may be. This is going to be the person who is thinking about what is the long-term goal and how do I embody that so that people can see that there is a future for this thing. Whereas managers, they focus on the organizational tasks that help to keep the brand running optimally as it keeps going further. So one step at a time, managers are overseeing everything that makes the brand work through the processes that are established and the tasks that are allocated within that brand. All right. So that's another important difference. And then lastly, we're going to be looking at authority. Leaders focus less on being an authoritative figure, and they focus more on exercising influence. Again, their job is to encourage. Their job is to encourage and inspire people towards what the longer goal is. So they focus more on being an influential character, influential figure overall for the brand. Whereas managers uh, focus more on a structured and or authoritative approach. So these are people who are oversee a lot of tasks. They oversee how everything is working step by step daily. They have to be the ones that are in charge and overseeing everything from an authoritative position. That is important because without that authority figure, they cannot be able to achieve the task or the objectives one step at a time to achieve the bigger goals. And that's going to be very important too to understand why each of these things are important. So, like I said, with managers, they are responsible for meeting daily tasks with whatever is allocated to each person to make the brand run. Without them having that oversight and control, the vision is not going to be able to make it to where it needs to go with each task. Likewise, you need leaders to inspire and motivate people towards whatever the long term goal is. Without leaders, this thing is not going to run. Um, it's only going to be able to focus on the step by step task, and then people are going to get weary because they're going to be wondering where is this going, where is this leading. And you got to be able to have someone to be the example, the embodiment of what that vision, mission, and those core values are with every goal that's being set and organized. Whereas the managers are able to make practical steps to get that to be possible from one task to another through operational and organizational processes. All right. So, with that stated, we're going to be focusing on more on this topic of managers and leaders, but we're gonna do it from my personal areas, or I would say my personal thought on areas that are important when it comes to building anything that is of a brand. And that is vision, mission, goals and objectives, and your core values. Ever since I took my time to start off with my own personal branding of being an influencer on social media, being a coach, and then really focusing on CBIM, in 2018, I really focused a whole lot on what is your vision, what is your mission, what are your goals and objectives, and then even more recently, I had to start thinking and then we're going to talk about how leaders and managers, in their own unique way, influences these areas. So your vision is pretty much the future of what it is that you are wanting to have for this brand, whether it is your business, whether it's your organization, whether it's your enterprise, whether it is a church, a nonprofit entity, whatever the case is, you got to be able to have a vision that inspires people towards the future. And you got to be able to have goals that are set to make sure that 5 or 10 years from now, this vision is making lasting impacts beyond today. So the vision is what it is that we see. It's more than simply what we see from our eyes presently. It's about what we can envision in our minds as we are moving towards seeing this be possible, in a longer term perspective, a long term trajectory. So in a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 7 years from now, 10 years from now, where are we going? What is it that we are seeing as the great big picture of everything that we're moving towards as we are investing into this entity? The mission is the I would say the major task that we are doing to ensure that this vision is becoming a reality. Um, without a mission, the vision cannot be possible. And so our mission is what we can use to instill a present perspective towards the future that we are creating. And this is how we are able to break down goals and objectives. This is what was these goals and objectives are what make our mission and vision become a reality. So this is why we have vision statements and we have mission statements. Vision statements are about what is the future that we're going to be that we're working towards in one sentence. The mission is how we're going to make this possible in one sentence. When you are able to break these things down into one sentence, you have a clear mission and you have a clear vision in mind that people can choose to attach themselves with. And so we're going to get more into that as we start talking about leadership and managers, because what they have to offer in these areas are very different, yet they help to complement the overall focus in making the dream or the brand or the overall major goal, long-term goal. So goals and objectives, as you start breaking down your vision, and particularly when it comes to your mission. So your mission is the vision that is being able to be realistically possible, what it is you can do. From that standpoint, you are able to create goals. Goals are basically major points that you are aiming to achieve for a certain amount of time. So you have short-term goals, you have midterm goals, and you have long-term goals. Short-term goals are basically things that can be possible for you to achieve within a year, up to a year. Midterm goals are around up to 3 to 5 years. And then your long-term goals are set to up to 10 years. So you want to make sure you have clear goals about what is realistically possible for you to achieve, to make sure that your tasks are meted up to the vision, the overall vision and the purpose of this particular entity, right? Now, your objectives are your everyday tasks that make it possible for you to get through the goals so that way you can achieve the mission and then overall get to the vision when the time comes. So your objectives are what make everything possible, and those have to be as real and as tangible and as practical as you possibly can. The more you get close to your vision, all the way down to your objectives, the more practical and tangible it has to be for you to apply them every single day, so that everything that you're doing is made possible by the time you reach this long-term goal, which should be a part of the vision that you are willing to achieve. All right. And then we have core values. So your core values are essentially the principles that you are moving from to get you from where you are now with your vision all the way to the very end. So no matter how long it takes for you to get to the vision, you're not going to stay away from your core values. Without your core values, you really have nothing to guide you in the morality or the ethics of what makes this thing possible. And ethics is very important, because without ethics, people won't be able to really trust the brand. So your core values are basically saying, this is who we are. This is our character. This is our nature within this entity as we are moving from point A to point B. All right. So let's get into the difference between leadership and management when it comes to these four important areas: vision, mission, goals and objectives, and your core values. All right. So leaders create and communicate a bold, aspirational future. So again, these are the people who model the example of what it means to be a part of this particular entity, a part of this brand, a part of this enterprise, a part of the dream. They are the ones that you will see as the face of what is possible through them, right? So they are able to show and tell you, communicate to you in so many different ways that there is a future that we are working towards, that is bold, that is powerful, that is something that we all want to see be something in the world we want to have for as long as humanly possible. And we want to be able to build towards that, right? So leaders are the ones who create and communicate that future. Managers, on the other hand, align operations and resources to support the vision. So because these are the people who are uh, focusing on processes and task allocation in order to get this vision to, to be possible. This is why you need managers. You need people who can create a roadmap. That's essentially what this is. Managers are the people who make the roadmap. So leaders are the ones who guide, and the managers are the ones who make the map so that way that people can get from point A to point B. Managers are the ones who are tasked with setting the markers and the indicators necessary to get to where that vision needs to be from whatever it is the leader has in mind. So that's the difference between leadership and management there. Um, the mission. Leaders define the overarching purpose and why. So when it comes to your why, one of the things that I say that's very important is that why has two important areas. It's your reason and your purpose. The reason and the logic behind something is what the leader is supposed to communicate in expressing how this thing is important in doing this right now, and be able to give a sound logic or rationale behind that particular reason of this entity. Whereas your purpose is about what is this thing aiming towards? What are we moving towards in this particular area that is going to be practical and tangible? Your leader is important in defining that particular thing, not only in just saying that to you, but with the characteristics that he or she is embodying. Managers, on the other hand, translate the mission to actionable plans and processes. So these are the people who are going to take the overarching purpose and give the actual reason and rationale, the logic behind everything. Again, being that roadmap, they're going to put that towards actual goals and objectives, and build the way towards that particular vision, or make a mission out of that. All right. So these are the people that you're going to be looking to. The managers are the people that you're going to be looking to make the goals and objectives possible through their processes. Whereas leaders are the ones who are communicating and defining what that purpose and that reason is supposed to be like. Right. So speaking of goals and objectives, leaders set high level transformative targets with the vision. All right. So these are people who are going to be in charge of setting the goals, right? Whatever short term, particularly midterm and long term goals, these are the people that you're going to be looking to uh, cite and give uh, aspirational ways on making sure that we have these targets. These are the people who are creating these targets, right? So whatever it is that may be a goal, whether it's within a year, 3 to 5 years, or up to 10 years or so, these are the people who are marking what it is that is our destination. Whereas the managers break down these goals into specific measurable tasks and timelines. So again, building a map, building the machinery to make this possible. These are the people who are going to be a lot more responsible for the objectives, right? So these are the people who are going to be setting the pathway to make each of these goals possible. Your short-term goals, they're going to be very big on the short-term goals, and maybe to some degree the midterm goals, because all these are part of objectives. And they build the way towards the longer goals as everybody allocates their time and their task energy towards each particular objective. And as the leader sets the path through the targets that he is wanting to hit in each of these goals, the manager comes in and sets specific objectives to make these things possible, right? And then we have core values. Leaders embody and instill values to shape culture and behaviors. Now, again, this goes back to leaders being people driven, and these are the ones that want to inspire the change. So, in order, and what we say in CBIM is you want to be the change that you wish to see in this world. So, the leaders are responsible for becoming the change by defining what the core values are. They embody that, they instill that, so that way others can be inspired by what it is they set as the culture, as the environment within this particular entity. Managers, on the other hand, enforce and integrate values into daily operations and policies. So these are the ones who set these core values into law, into practice, into making the atmosphere be a tangible reality. Again, making the map. Again, I'm going to go back to that because it is very important, because essentially this is what managers are known for. They are the ones who are responsible for making the organized effort towards anything being possible towards the vision. When it comes to core values in particular, they are the ones who instill that core values practically into the task at hand. So again, being the ones who oversee everything, who oversee the processes being done, they're the ones to ensure that you are operating in that particular set of values with everything that you are doing. It's part of the authoritative role that they have. All right. Whereas again, leaders are more involved with influencing and being able to push people towards direction, to motivate people and inspire them towards a particular trajectory. So with that said, we're going to talk about how there can be ways to supplement uh, leadership with management and management with leadership. Now, if you are somebody who is starting off with a particular uh, brand, you have a particular dream that you have in mind, chances are you may fall into either a leadership type style of how you may handle things, or you may be involved with the management type of thing. You're either somebody who is more like the change agent, who wants to influence and impact and be the one who is modeling the example of what that change is supposed to be, or you may be somebody who is more involved with the processes, more involved with trying to set a practical way forward and try to build that bridge into making that possible. Um, you may be able, you are somebody that may be choosing or deciding how are you wanting to supplement what it is that you are maybe lacking. If you are a manager, you may be lacking some form of leadership. So when it comes to management, if you are a manager and you need understanding of leadership, um, managers need to focus more on how to connect more with people and inspire others. They need to be more involved with trying to get people to see the purpose and the goal of embodying the vision. And the only way they could do that is by exemplifying that. Now, you may not be able to do it to the same degree as somebody who is of a leadership mind, but you can incorporate that better so that people are able to see how that can be a reality with a person being able to exemplify that. Now, if you have issues with that, you may need to try to delegate that to somebody who is of a more of a leadership minded person. But as if you're trying to embody that for your own particular goals, you have to know how to connect with people through inspiration. Whereas if you are a leader, you have to be aware of how to build things to get to where you're going. One of the things about leaders is that they love to be influencers and create inspiration and motivation, but they don't know how to actually set the tasks that are required to make something work. Not all the time. And so they usually delegate that to people. But when you're starting out, you need to know how to have, you know, deadlines. You have to know timelines. You have to know certain tasks that need to be done. And you need to be able to have a certain um, curriculum or practice in order to achieve that. If you are someone that has difficulty with that, you can delegate those types of things. But when you're starting out, it is important to have an awareness of that, so that way that you can start setting the example, not only just with your personhood, but also with practical, tangible actions. So, with that said, everybody, I hope that you were able to gain something valuable from this conversation. I count it a great privilege once again for FELM Institute for inviting me. And I hope that you were able to gain something important about leadership and management and how they work, how they both function to create a thriving entity that you're building. We need both leaders and management. And when we have people working together as a team in those areas, that is how we start seeing the magic. So, with that said, thank you very much for having me. I now leave it back into the hands of our host, Mr. Fidelis.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Kevin. I really, really appreciate this. You are placing them in order step by step. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for being part of the FEM Institute. We are not taking this for granted. Thank you so much. Some questions came up, and then I want to just know if you are still active, so I can just drop the questions for you. Uh, Mr. Kevin, are you still active?
Yes, I'm still here. I'm very much here. Yes.
Okay, let me just drop the question from the audience, so maybe you can give us one or two answers, and then we go. The first question we have here is that he said, "What are some effective strategies for leaders to build and maintain a positive organizational culture? What are some effective strategies for leaders to build and maintain a positive organizational structure?" Is that
Okay.
right?
So strategies that you can be able to implement. Remember that your goal is to focus on the people. Your goal is to focus on how to influence the people. So your strategies have to be based on what is it that people need to see from you? What is it that people need to see you embody so that you are able to become the influencer that you need to be? You need to be the person that persuades. So some examples that I could give with that is making sure that you're paying attention. What is it that people are looking for? If you are somebody that is wanting to be a leader in a humanitarian effort, then you have to be somebody who is actively engaging in the humanitarian work. What people see and gravitate towards is what they're going to see you as a leader in. That's where they're going to see your major influence to be. Another thing is, if you want to be able to have a working strategy, connect with people who are doing those types of things. So, like even with where I am, Fidelis knows me from the work that I've done with CBIM, along with the my own influencing efforts as well. So the reason why he was able to invite me here was because this is an institute that is focusing on leaders and influencers. Being able to give master classes and be able to give a structured conversation on important topics. So you want to be able to connect with people who are embodying the very things that you are accomplishing as well. And that may take some time, so it may take some time to build up some credibility, especially if you're starting out. But you want to be able to start building relationships if you want to have connect with a mentor to get that accomplished. That could be well too, because mentors are able to have connections as well. However, you want to get started with embodying the thing that you want people to recognize you for. And the sooner that you get started on that, the better.
Hello, can you hear? Did
Yeah,
you
I
hear what
can
I
hear
said?
now. Yes.
Okay, I said the second question
No, I did not.
is that okay. The second question is, can we say that a manager is also a leader, even though he is not the visionary of a project? Can we still call a manager a leader? That's the second question.
Okay, so are managers leaders? Yes and no. Managers are the people who are more responsible for building whatever it is that a leader is doing. So they can complement what a leader is doing, and they can partner with that leader to build the vision. They can be part of the main task force, so to speak, in making that possible. Like you may have a CEO who is more like a leader, and then the COO who's a manager. But when people are looking to somebody who to embody something, they're going to look to the CEO. The COO is usually the person who's going to be behind the scenes and making sure that whatever the CEO or the leader is doing is coming to reality. That's the person who's doing all the manual labor or overseeing the manual labor that the leader is upholding. That's not to say that the leader doesn't work, but the leader is more focusing on connecting the people with the brand, where the manager is the one who is making the vision, the overall vision possible with the processes that they create.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for coming to FEM Institute. We appreciate you so much. We say thank you. And we also pray and wish that the next time we call you, you will run and answer us again. Thank you so much, sir.
It's
Yeah.
my pleasure.
So,
Thank you for inviting me once again. I count it a privilege from you, the OKK brothers. I love what you guys are doing. I know the OKK brothers are definitely branding themselves out to be strong leaders in this area of personal development. So it's my pleasure to be a part of this. Thank you very much.
welcome.
Your mic is muted, Fidelis.
Oh, thank you. Uh, it's an announcement on the institution. The institution is basically a business school on finance, entrepreneurship, leadership, and management. And we always hold our master classes at the last Saturday of every month. Outside that, we are organizing a training, an institution that will bring out the best in every entrepreneur. Some argue that entrepreneurs are not made, that they are born, but in FEM Institute, we are bringing out, or we bring out the best on every individual. We grow them from the ground zero to the best they can ever become. So every last Saturday of the month, the FEM Institute organizes or have a master class, and it's free for everyone. It is free for everyone. So for my audience, I encourage you to always click on the link and join the institute every last Saturday and be part of this masterclass. It's always an exciting time to have our guests speak to us. These are professionals. We don't just call anyhow people, we call experts and leaders and entrepreneurs to come and give us a hands-on skill on what they already know and what they do. Leaders are not just those that say, they are also those that do. They are into doing, not just saying. They don't just say what to do, but they are doing it, so they can lead you, they can hold you by hand. So I encourage everyone to be part of us every last Saturday of the month, and I encourage you to be part of the institution fully and learn how to become a grounded entrepreneur in whatsoever field you are. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Kelvin, once more. Thank you to our audience. See you. Bye.